If you're someone who overthinks or has anxious thought patterns, hearing this is terrifying and anxiety inducing because that makes you think, oh my God, I must be manifesting all this terrible shit. I want to change it from your thoughts create your reality to your thoughts create your experience of your reality. Hi guys, today I wanted to talk to you about manifestation. It's actually one of my favorite subjects and something that I deeply believe has helped me create my dream life. I stumbled upon manifestation when I was about 15 or 16, so that's about 11 years ago, and I was just immediately drawn to it, fascinated by this. I like to describe manifestation as energetic goal setting, because I think we all know and can sort of get around classic goal setting and, you know, making actionable plans, staying motivated, taking steps towards goals. You know, you write a list and then you do the things that you think are going to get you there. However, what I like about manifestation is that it has the energetic part as well. So it's about how do we feel, how do we become, how do we show up as, and how do we change not only our reality through the things we're doing differently, the new habits we're creating or whatever, but also how do we change our experience of that reality? How do we change our thought patterns, our energy, our nervous system's reaction to things? The thing is, for most people, motivation or actionable plans will only get you so far. To really manifest something, we have to shift our identity and shift our reality to be the person who is living that. And we need to do that now because we only ever have now. You know, our life is essentially made up of a string of nows. A little bit philosophical, guys, I know, but stick with me. But yeah, I think approaching it as energetic goal setting can help demystify manifestation because recently I've really been noticing how many different lines of thought or a system just say the same things but use different word. Like I was listening to an episode of Diary of a CEO, which, you know, is more business focused, more corporate, right? And there was a guest in, a man who was very grounded, very business focused, money focused. I actually think the theme was money. Anyway, but he was talking about things, but he was saying things that I'm like, but that's manifestation. You're just calling it something else. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But for me personally, I do like a little bit of glitter. I do like a little bit of spirituality, of angel numbers, of magic in my goal setting practice. I don't want to just go to it from like an actions and motivation and like logical point of view. I want to come with it with my whole energy and experience and yeah, create magic. And that is why I love manifestation. Okay, that was my little spiel. I'm now gonna get into some of the points that I wanted to discuss today that I think are some of the most important things to nuance and what I've learned during my years of practicing manifestation, of studying it, reading about it. First point is for my fellow sensitive girls, my overthinkers, my anxiety girls. Okay? When you first stumble upon manifestation, you're probably gonna meet a lot of rhetoric about your thoughts create your reality, right? It's like one of the building blocks of typical manifestation teachings, you know, The Secret and all that. The problem is, if you're someone who overthinks or has anxious thought patterns, hearing this is terrifying and anxiety inducing because that makes you think, oh my God, I must be manifesting all this terrible shit. So especially if you experience more compulsive thoughts, I'm not going to get into this in this video, but part of my journey has been dealing with anxiety and compulsion under that. And like a way my anxiety would, well, manifest was through compulsive thinking and compulsive actions. So hearing stuff like that, like your thoughts create your reality, isn't always helpful in that situation, and it can make you spiral because it's a bit like someone saying, don't think of a purple elephant. You're gonna think of a purple elephant. Why this is important for me to say to my fellow anxious manifestors that you don't have to be scared of your own thoughts, okay? You just need to hold space for them. Dealing with that is a different, completely separate topic. I've had professional help. Again, maybe a story for another day. Just wanted to make that clear. I want to change it from your thoughts create your reality to your thoughts create your experience of your reality. Because your thoughts usually evoke an emotion in you, right? So when you're in a negative thought spiral, if you're experiencing anxiety, fear, worrying, then you will also see more things around you that inspire that feeling, and that will be your experience regardless of what happens in the physical 3D world. If you're thinking positive, happy thoughts, you will see the world through those glasses, again, almost regardless of what's happening in the physical 3D world. So yes, your thoughts do influence things, but it more so influences your experience of things, where you actually manifest more from your subconscious than from your conscious brain, like your stream of thoughts. That's why also affirmations are great, but they're not gonna work if you saying like, I am beautiful, I am enough, think you're a piece of shit. If you have very low self-worth and haven't done any deeper work, just saying affirmations isn't gonna be enough. And that's the same reason that you don't need to be afraid of your anxious thoughts in terms of manifestation, okay? Because the way it works is the more resistance you then have to thinking negative or bad thoughts that are gonna influence your reality, the more you're gonna think about them. Like, it's not helpful. I understand where the rhetoric is coming from, but I feel like this nuance needs to be said for those of us who do have a tendency to overthink, who might experience anxiety, and so on and so forth. With the amount of worrying I've done in my life, if my thoughts created my reality, I should not be here right now. Let me tell you that much. That being said, it is of course important to take control, you know, of our thoughts, the thoughts that we hear, our inner dialogue, and optimize it so it's the best place possible. But I'm more for learning to hold space for whatever is happening, learning to detach and go into a meditative state rather than like trying to cancel out a negative thought by saying something positive immediately after. Like if you're feeling worried, then instead of saying to yourself, I'm happy, when you're not, when that's not your experience, my experience is that it's more helpful to just go into meditation, to hold space for the emotion, for the negative thought, for the negative feeling that the thought brings with it, and then it's free to pass and a new one will arise, and so on and so forth. And that's life, that's being a human, you know, right? Experiencing thoughts and feelings and emotions, it's all part of it. But the more we can become the one observing it, the more it also sets us free to process whatever's going on and then choose from a conscious place. Actually really good to get off my chest. I've been wanting to say this somewhere for a while. Okay, second point is about how we manifest and how that's actually different for all of us. Oh my God. So learning about human design taught me a lot about me in general, you know, as these systems tend to do, be it human design or astrology. But what I really like about human design is it had so much specifically in terms of manifesting. And one thing that really blew my mind was learning that I was a non-specific manifester, because it really resonated with me. So if you're completely lost on this, human design is like a system, you know, you have a chart similarly to how you have an astrology chart, and you can read a whole bunch of stuff about it and in it. Not going to go into that. But what you can see is you will have 4 arrows in your chart. And which one is it again? I've written it down here. The bottom right arrow out of those 4 arrows will tell you if you're a specific or a non-specific manifester. If it points to the right, she says, and points to the left. If it points to the right, you're a non-specific manifester. And if it points to the left, you're a specific manifester. What this describes is essentially whether you, excuse my language, but get off on being specific or non-specific in your manifestation practice, right? So either what gets you going is getting like really into the nitty-gritty details, being like, this is the kitchen I want with this kitchen knob, and like seeing all the details really clearly. Or you might be better off just having an overarching idea of what you want and like the feeling. And for me, that really hit home because I'm non-specific, right? And if you've been in this, you know, world, you will have come across a lot of things that are specific. I feel like it's quite common for visualizations or even practices to inspire you to be as specific as possible. As that works for some people and it's great, it doesn't work for all of us. Vice versa, some specific manifestors might not be tapping into the full potential of how good it would feel for them to get specific. And look, as I always say with all of these systems, please take what resonates. For me, I felt seen in this. I felt like I got a language for it and understanding that I didn't have before, and therefore this is useful for me. However, if I really felt like being specific was helpful to me and my energy and my manifestation practice, I would still be specific. Do you know what I mean? So I love all these systems, but I'm also a firm believer that we know ourselves best at the end of the day, so therefore take what resonates. But yeah, if you haven't looked it up yet, maybe look up your human design chart. You need the same data that you need for your astrology chart. I just really feel like it makes a lot of sense that we're not all wired the same. You know, similarly to we're not all wired the same in terms of what's best for us to eat. How we gain energy is different, and how we manifest best is also different. That's why it's so important to stay curious, to stay intuitive, and to also, you know, trust yourself in your process. The next thing I wanted to talk about is embodiment. Oh my God, I do see this floating around a lot, and I just think it's great because it's an amazing thing and an amazing part of manifestation. So to manifest something, as I said in the intro, we need to remember that we're always in the now. There is always now. We can only manifest something from now. Do you know what I mean? We can't go into the future and be like, oh, I want to manifest it from there, because like I can't. I don't know how to get there. If you guys know, please let me know. But I only know how to be here, right? That's also why manifestation or affirmations typically use I am. They use present tense language because we are in the now. And as such, if we want to change, we can only create that change now. We can't, even if we set the intention to do it, we can't go to Monday and say I'm going to do it then, because we're not there. We must embody whatever it is we're trying to manifest, or whoever it is we're trying to be now. But we must also do so in a way that's believable to our subconscious, because as I mentioned earlier, I believe that this is actually more important than our conscious or like active thoughts. I don't know how to explain, but you know what I mean, like the voice in our head versus all the things that are underneath, all the mechanisms that are going on subconsciously. I believe that is very important. So you don't also want to overwhelm yourself with something that's gonna cause more resistance. And sometimes to embody something, we do need to step into those, you know, steps along the way and say, okay, it actually feels, you know, I feel a little bit too much like a fraud or a liar if I say I am a millionaire when if, for example, if you're having like a lot of struggles financially. So maybe you instead change that to I am bettering my finances. Sometimes what we need to do is break it down and make our affirmations or our practice actionable and believable for the current version of us, and then we can take steps up. So sometimes you don't want to overwhelm yourself with an affirmation or a goal that feels too big for you. You want to find something that meets you where you're at but still feels expansive, and then you can keep expanding on from there in future nows. But we only ever have this now, right? So the best you can do is to be as embodied as possible in a believable way that you can actually embody now. And then my final point is, of course, the surrender. The surrender, the hardest part, and also one of the most powerful parts of manifestation, is when we have to set it free and be okay with having or not having that thing. And that paradoxically makes us super attractive. It's a little bit like I heard someone saying once, using dating as an analogy. If you see like manifestation almost as dating the universe or something, you know, desperation isn't attractive. No. You want to be confident, surrendered, receiving, open, and okay with not knowing exactly when or how it will show up. I think that's part of it. We get stuck on the when and how, but usually what happens if we can just get into surrender and into a really beautiful high vibration, then that thing is going to come running right at us. Whereas if we're stressing about it, if we're obsessing, if we're in a desperate mode, we're kind of blocking it a little bit, because we're essentially telling our subconscious that we don't really believe it's on the way if we're like obsessing or desperate or stressed. Of course, it's a balance, because we still need to usually act or like do things to bring things into reality. But energetically, if we can get into a relaxed, surrendered state of mind, that is where we become super, super attractive. And that's where, for me, meditation is such a big part of it. Practicing things that give me joy, having hobbies that fill me up, reading my books, doing things in nature that take me away from just focusing on my goals and dreams all the time. Because I'm quite a driven person. I always have been, but I've also had phases in my life where literally, if I wasn't working or doing something productive, I didn't know what to do. And I feel like adding things to my life that excite me, inspire me, and my creativity, and learning how to be more present throughout meditation and when being in nature and stuff like that has just helped me become so much more magnetic and attract the things that I want with a lot more ease instead of hustle. Yeah, the surrender is definitely important. And sometimes if we are having a lot of thoughts, to bring it back to what I was speaking about as my first point in this video, if you are worrying, if you are overthinking, then that's okay. But maybe honestly just try and distract yourself. Like sometimes the surrender can be just going to do something else and forgetting a little bit about it, so you're not making the energy so potent, so stressful about the specific thing you're trying to manifest. Okay, my loves, that was my little spiel on manifestation today. One of my favorite topics, so please let me know if you do have any other requests or questions within this realm. I'd be happy to discuss further and make a video addressing it, because yeah, I could go on. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this one. I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.